Welcome back to the Broken Truth Podcast, where we uncover stories hidden between the lines of history, secrecy, and the human experience. But tonight, we're doing something a little different. This is Audience Confession Night, a crossover special with our friends from the Rabbit Hole Podcast. It's raw, it's unfiltered, and it's all about your stories. The strange encounters, unexplained experiences, and moments you've never told anyone. Before we dive in, make sure to follow the show, share this episode, and leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. It really helps us to reach more truth seekers like yourself. And when this episode ends, drop a comment below that says part 2 and include your own confession if you want to see more episodes like this one. Now, joining me tonight is someone who knows how deep the rabbit hole really goes. She's the host of the Rabbit Hole Podcast, where mysteries meet meaning. Please welcome Dani, a storyteller, investigator, and one of the most grounded voices in the world of hidden truths. Together, we're opening the floor, not to experts or insiders this time, but to you, the audience. Because sometimes the truth doesn't just live in documents or declassified files, it lives in the stories we're too afraid to tell. Dani, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I should just have you follow me around and introduce me to everybody. That was really nice. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Shoot, I've checked out a bunch of your content. Amazing stuff.
Thank you.
So really looking forward to this episode. Thought this was a neat idea to get our listeners involved.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
So we got a few topics we're going to cover today. One being you and an alter ego hosting the Swerve Podcast. Just sounding like a man. So That's definitely an interesting one. We'll be able to chat back and forth on that. We have a couple other ones submitted from viewers. One is going to be some messages from someone's mother on a conspiracy. We're going to talk about MKUltra and ECT. Another synopsis from someone. The Russian sleep experiment, new JFK updates, artificial telepathic communication as well.
Nice.
So we'll go ahead and jump right into this. I have my AI assistant, Aura, who's going to give us a brief introduction into some of these topics, and then we'll show the on-screen messages for some of them as well. So we'll get started with Swerve Podcast.
It's almost suspiciously good. But nah. If Dani is running a double life with a fake voice and a second podcast identity, honestly, I'd be impressed. That's some next-level MKUltra level commitment right there.
What do you think about this, Dani?
So when it was introduced to me, I thought it was crazy because I guess the Swerve Podcast and my podcast started around the same time. So the friend that introduced this conspiracy to me, he did some research and he was like, no, your podcast and the Swerve Podcast started basically the same time. He's like, you just started 2 podcasts. Firstly, no way. That's so much work. So much work. But also, like, they're Canadian, and it started with 2 guys, the Swerve Podcast. It was 2 guys. Now it's just down to the 1 guy. But they're Canadian, and you can tell they're Canadian when they speak. Like, I can't even do a Canadian accent. So, but very compelling. Maybe AI could do that. Maybe if I put my voice into AI and I did the whole thing, it would, I don't know. His podcast is also produced better than my podcast is. So I feel like if I was going to do that much work, I would produce them both equally as well.
I mean, that's a good point. But to keep it a true conspiracy, if they're different, then no one will ever know the difference.
I'm not very good at that, though. Like, I am who I am everywhere I go. Like, I'm not very good at, like, faking things. So I think I would be really bad at that.
That's fair. We were actually just talking about this when I went on the Daily Conspiracy Podcast, how a lot of the conspiracies kind of contradict each other, and it's kind of hard to find the real truth.
Yeah.
Because like one thing comes out and you think it's the truth, and then something comes out to debunk it, and it like completely contradicts it.
But I think they do that on purpose. I think that some of these conspiracies, like they put out like counter conspiracies to confuse people that might believe in the conspiracy. So then you're like, what's true and what's not? So then it makes conspiracies like less believable. That's
exactly what I was thinking. It's almost like the first topics that come out are the actual truth, and then people are like, oh shoot, we gotta stop this, especially with like intelligence stuff.
Yeah, the CIA is on top of that. Like I fully believe that there's like intelligence agents in every conspiracy forum. Anywhere that there might be a conspiracy, they're like, let's just go in there and like shake things up.
Yeah.
Which is
No,
a conspiracy in
absolutely.
itself. Like, how many of us creators are actually CIA assets?
That's a really interesting
Like,
topic. I'm not sure if you follow a lot of this stuff from Tucker Carlson and his postings, but he's
not
had a lot
really.
of CIA intelligence people who are whistleblowers. But it's like,
Yeah.
why would the CIA allow that to even happen?
Well,
But
and if
it makes
you
you think that same thing, you know?
yeah, well, and Sean Ryan has said that too. If you follow his podcast, he is like, I've had some people on my podcast that after the interview, it's like they came on just to say something, like drop some sort of bomb, and they really like. He's like, I think it's intelligence because he's had whistleblowers and different people on. He's like, and he's got such a big platform. He said, I think some like they're putting people on my podcast for a specific reason, like they need to drop some sort of information. So,
No, absolutely.
I'm like, I don't know, like it's kind of scary.
It is scary. You don't know what to believe in today's world, especially with all this AI stuff. For the most part, it's very helpful.
Well, then it makes you wonder, like, am I just an MK Ultra like puppet putting out conspiracies? Like, this is how deep my brain goes. I'm like, am I the problem? Am I
Yeah.
a CIA asset?
It's part of the problem, yeah. That's okay though. I enjoy doing this, so.
Like, who knows what's true and what's not true? I don't even know anymore.
No, that's absolutely true. That's why I try to keep things kind of between fact and myth, and kind of try to debunk some of the myths as much as possible. I have my own personal opinion, but I don't want to push things too hard because
Yeah.
then
I do
people just
opinion
think you're nuts.
episodes like on my Patreon because I'm like, I don't want to put my opinion in the actual episode, so I'll give you my opinion separately. Because some of the
That's exactly
some of
what
the
I do.
episodes they have like multiple conspiracies, and so I just try to give everybody all the conspiracies of whatever topic, and then in the opinion episode, that's when I'll tell you what I actually believe.
That's exactly what I do. I do like a short synopsis, 8 to 15 minutes, and then on the Patreon, I do the exact same thing, a deeper dive.
Yeah,
Cool, cool. So are we debunking this whole
yeah, I'm
concept of the
not.
Swerve Podcast?
I've never met the guys at the Swerve Podcast. We've done some promo swaps. We just did a swap cast because I was taking a week off, so I asked them if they wanted to put one of their episodes on my podcast instead, and then I gave them one of my episodes. So that's as far as it's gone. I have not done
Okay.
all the research, and like I haven't done it when I dropped their dead internet theory on my on like my feed as like a week off episode for everybody, and the whole time I listened to that episode, I was like, I want to do my own research into it just because I'm a control freak probably. But because like I want to know, and I feel like I learn the best if I'm actually doing the research. So I'm like, maybe I should do the research into maybe I should do my own episode on dead internet theory. So if I was
Yeah.
also them, then I wouldn't be thinking that.
No, that's true. That is absolutely true. Alrighty. Well, getting into this next topic, we'll start with the messages from the mom. I'll put the text on the screen and read through it all, and then we can kind of discuss it after that. So here it is. It's about your peepaw. Before he died, he told me the truth about many things. It's all pretty shocking. Peepaw was a spook for the CIA. He said he never trusted Israel and that he trusted a Muslim over a Jew. I didn't understand why until now. He told me that Israel controls our money, media, government, and the Christians don't take history into the timeline. Israel isn't the same as it was. It was a split. Old Jews are Palestinian now. He said Lindsey Graham is a snake, that politicians and royals make money off wars and get kickbacks. The CIA took people all over the world to do their spy work. The reason Peepaw had dual citizenship was to protect himself. He traveled with his Canadian passport and never had a United States address, just his P.O. box. Remember how he used to just randomly pop in to visit? He never would let me pick him up from the airport. And that's because he traveled underground. Yes, the underground tunnels are real. And he had hidden guns underground. Or he had guns hidden underground. He was one of the top guys in the International Rifle Association. You know how Peepaw was a master mason? It was a cover-up. Look into Freemasons, etc. I remember after 9/11, I couldn't locate him. I ended up calling the U.S. Embassy in Pakistan to find him. They found him and snuck him out by train into Southern Europe. I was told he would contact me when he was safe, not too long after he died. And I had a mason As soon as he introduced himself, I remember Peapod telling me, don't ever tell them anything if they claim to be a friend. He had a guy who was a liaison between the United Nations and Afghanistan. They kept asking me for information, but I just played dumb. I wish I could tell you more and show you all the proof I have, but it could affect your safety. Just know the conspiracies are true.
Whoa. Could you imagine your mom sending you that text message?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, no, that's wild.
Everything I knew about Peepaw's wrong. Like, this guy was actually this government, like, secret agent guy. It's like a movie. But I have this theory that every movie is just like the truth. Like, all these fiction movies are actually the truth. They're just like they make them into movies. That way, when we're like, no, the conspiracy is yada yada yada, they're like, no, you're just remembering the movie and not like you're just making this up based on whatever movie that was, right? So I feel like everything she's saying is like any one of the spy movies, and it's just fiction. It's just made up. They want you to believe that they just made it up.
It's interesting you bring up that concept because we look at shows like The Simpsons and South Park and all that stuff that does the future predictions,
Mhm.
and it ends up becoming true. So the whole concept of Hollywood being infiltrated by these intelligence agencies to release this information, whether you believe in the concept of the Freemasons, the Illuminati, or whatever it may be, I think it's real that they actually do put this information out to us because they think we're too stupid to believe it. And
Oh,
then, like
yeah.
you said, when the truth actually does come out, they can just pitch it to being, no, it's just in the show. It was just it's all a joke.
Well, and it's like an occult ritual. Like, they have to tell you what's going to happen before they actually do it. And so if something like really horrific happens in a movie, or if there's like a book written about it or something, and then it happens in real life, like there's something about it they have to do. And I haven't done a deep dive into that. But like with The Simpsons, you have the yellow cube theory, where the yellow cube tells you what the future is going to hold. I think that the yellow cube tells you like multiple different timelines. And in my opinion, I don't have any evidence to back this up, that I think that they make all the episodes of The Simpsons part like something that they saw in each timeline. They don't know which one's going to come true. So then whatever episodes we see that do come true, that's the timeline that we're on. But it can switch based on
Mm.
whatever thing, right? And so they see into the future and they see like, let's assume 5 different things. So they make 5 different episodes and one of those 5 is true. They just don't know which one it is yet.
Interesting. Interesting. This is kind of a side note, kind of ties into this topic, but from a religious perspective, you have the concept of predetermination
Mhm.
for your life. So if all of this stuff is pre-planned, whether we know it or not, and it is released to Hollywood and stuff like that, that could be a deeper thing. Again, no history to back any of this up, but
But then you think about it, and I've asked this question a lot lately. So you have this predetermination thing, but then you also have free will. And so then is God's plan ever evolving for you based on the choices that you make, or does he know what choice you're going to make even though you have the choice to make it?
so that's an interesting concept. And I actually watched your whole religious testimony. That was very interesting. And I
Yes.
wanted to get into some questions on that, so it's interesting that we brought this up. We can dive into it. But yeah, no, there is the concept of free will, right?
Mhm.
And interestingly enough, I don't necessarily identify with any religion in and of itself, but I do believe in a higher power. Studied a lot on religions, and
Mhm.
they all kind of blend together. They have the same basis, and whether
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
mythological with the Egyptians or the Greeks or whatever, they all just have the same characters under different names, but the stories are the same. And you have the concept of the deluge, the Great Flood, right?
Yep.
And every context shows the exact same thing happening, but just under different characters' names.
And different
Um,
cultures too. Like even like not religious cultures have, or like not like a religious like text, but like older ancient cultures have a great flood. Like
yeah,
everybody has a great flood.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I just got done reading this book. It's called The Genesis 6 Conspiracy by Gary Wayne. And he kind of ties all of that in. And I thought it was really interesting, his perspective on everything, because regardless of what religion you believe in, like we kind of talked about, everything's the same baseline. And he mentions that the concept of the Nephilim survived after the flood, and we have these giant hybrid human beings that are in our world today. And in my opinion, I think those are like the Masons that we would consider the great power, the
Interesting.
Illuminati, whatever it may be, because they have this higher power, this level of intelligence that's now a hybrid being that's on our Earth. So when it comes to the concept of free will and predetermination and everything, I think it could be real, that our lives are predetermined and we do have those choices to make, because just like in the Garden of Eden, they had the choice. God told them not to do something, but they did it anyway.
But did he know that they were going to choose that? I mean, most people are going to say yes, right? But did he know that they were going to choose that, or did he give them the choice, and then whatever choice they made, then he knew like the response to that choice, right? Like in his brain, I don't know what you would say for God, but like, you can or you cannot, and if you do, this is the way it'll go, and if you do not, it'll go this way. So like,
so I don't
does
think
he already
he
know?
necessarily knew. And
Like,
to
does
give
he
you
know
some,
that we're gonna have this conversation today, or that we were not gonna have it?
I don't think he knows. And to
Okay.
give you some context on this, prior to the deluge of the Great Flood, we have the Watcher's story,
Mhm.
where and what would be referred to as the Nephilim, or whatever you want to call them, the giants. They come down and they're angels, higher beings, and they were told not to procreate with men, but they did.
Mhm.
So even God telling his own higher intelligence beings to not do something, they still betrayed that. So I don't think he knew that.
But does he tell them not to do it knowing that they will?
He told two people not to do things. So him being such a high level intelligence, right?
Yeah,
I don't think that he did know.
that's true. I don't know. I go back and forth with this all the time, and I've asked this question to anybody that listen. I'm like, okay, tell me about this, because like God has a plan for us, but as we change our minds, because we do have free will, does that change what his plan is for us? And a lot of people say no, like your plan is like it's predetermined from the day that you were born. He knew exactly what your whole life was going to look like. But did he know that I was going to encounter this person that was going to do this, and then I was going to make this choice? And I mean, yes, most people would say yes, but like, I don't know. I still question every day.
No, I do too. And I kind of look at it like the concept of a tree, a massive tree. You
Mhm.
have the roots, you have the stem of the tree, and then you have all the branches that come out of it, right? So the trunk of the tree is your main story. And I think that's what he knows.
Yeah.
Then he has the general concepts of the paths we can take, but it's our choice to take that path. And whatever path we take, our life takes a different route.
I can see that.
Yeah, just to give
Yeah.
some context to that, paint a picture. But your testimony was really interesting. How did you come to this? It seems that you kind of do believe, but not necessarily in one religion.
Um,
Explain a little about that.
so I didn't used to believe anything. I used to just so that's not true. My whole life growing up, I always believed something, like everything happens for a reason. I would always say that everything happens for a reason. But like, what is that reason? I don't know. Why? Who knows? It's just like that is such an easy out, right? Like I stubbed my toe. That probably happened for a reason. What is that reason? Who knows? But then I started researching conspiracy theories, and so many things kept leading back to like evil, to like horrific evil, not just like basic evil. Like I accidentally hit a squirrel crossing the road the other day. Like, like really, really crappy things where you're like, we should not be torturing, raping, and killing children for their blood or for whatever sacrifice, whatever weird things you guys are doing. Like, why is it so prominent? How come like so many conspiracy theories lead back there? So then I started doing some more research. Of course, that's like what I do. And I'm like, okay, everything keeps leading back to like Satanism, and everyone's worshiping the devil. If there's a devil, there's probably a God. So then I was like, and I don't know, I can't explain to you what happened, but like I felt this huge pull on my heart. Like, I think I need to start reading the Bible. I didn't want to go to church. You were not gonna catch me dead in a church. But I needed to read the Bible because I'm like, where do you start? In most of my life, like the people around me are Christian, so I was like, okay, well that's where I start then, because like I don't know, that seems like as good a place as any. So our nanny at the time, her husband was a pastor. So we went and got together with him. We had dinner. We're like, how come Christianity? Why not Muslim? Why not Buddhism? Like, why not all these other religions? Why should I choose this religion? Why should I walk down this path versus a different path? And we asked like some really hard questions that night, and he just like was so gracious. He answered all the questions, and we continued to ask questions. Like, we had that dinner, but then she was still our nanny. So I would come in after working, and I'm like, here's the deal. I learned some crazy things today, and I have some questions. And she just answered everything for me. And like, I was like, okay, well, I want to buy my own Bible. Are they all the same? And she was like, no, not even kind of. And I wouldn't have known that. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I started reading the Bible, whatever. She told me to start in the book of John. I did. And then I was like, after John, then what? So I went back to Genesis and started at the beginning, because that's what any normal person would do. Turns out the Bible's not in chronological order.
No.
Who knew? That seems silly. But anyway, so I started reading it. We moved out of Colorado. We moved to our new town. And I woke up one Sunday morning. I was like, I need to go to church. I don't know why. I need to go right now. So I Googled churches, but I live in the Bible Belt now. And there's like 50 churches within a 20-mile radius of me. There's so many churches, I feel like. Because I live out in the middle of nowhere. But I wanted a church that like kind of worked for my family, whatever. And I was like, I'm going to go one time, because I don't really know why I feel like I should go to church, but I don't like it. It feels weird. I walk in, people are like nice. So I went to church and it worked out. I liked it. People were nice. Like I expected them to be, but other churches, I felt like they were like disingenuine. They were nice because they were required to be nice because they were at church, but like they're not actually nice people. So I don't know. I've been asking a lot of questions. I've been questioning a lot because that's what I do. I don't know. I just question everything, and I ask the questions, and people don't look at me like, Dani, you're crazy. They're like, okay, well, yeah, that seems like a reasonable question. Let's answer that.
Oh, absolutely. No,
but then I keep having conversations with people that are not Christian, because I'm like, tell me about your religion. Tell me what you're believing. And so I just actually, it'll drop on Monday. I had a conversation with this lady. She's like New Age spiritual, I think. I don't know. But she was talking to me all about this evil entity, these almost like evil suckers. They suck, like they feast on like the bad emotions of the world. And they are what is orchestrating all the negativity in the world. And I was like, that's an interesting take on it. I don't think I fully believe, but I really like her take, and I want to know more about her take because I'm like curious. So
yeah, no, that's really interesting. And it's you brought up the topic that the different translations of the Bible or whatever version you're reading is different. And shoot, I've read a lot of spiritual doctrine, whether it be the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita. I've read a lot of it. And you have the Catholic version, the King James, which is the official Masonic Bible.
Interesting.
And the Catholic Church as a whole is said to be tied into Masons and part
Jesuits.
of and part of the whole grand plan. So, and if you read that one, I highly recommend it when you're done with whatever version you're reading now, but it's completely different.
Yeah, I feel like I picked a version of like English words that I can actually understand in a way that I can actually understand, to try to comprehend the most out of this book that I can the first time I read it. Because then like maybe I'll change versions and read it a different way, but I don't know. I was like, I need to be able to actually comprehend what's happening in this book, because I'm totally lost.
Oh yeah. No, shoot. Whenever you're done and you get the time, if you're even interested, pick up the King James version, but the study Bible.
I might have
and that
one.
way you'll be able to really
I have
dig.
several different versions, but my husband's great uncle, maybe, I don't know. He is my father-in-law's uncle. So anyway, he was a brother. He was a Jesuit, and we have his old Bible. So I'm wondering if I should just like read that next.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, check
Open that thing up, see what's in there. There's notes.
Yeah.
He's like written things in the margins. I'm like, I might learn a thing or two.
No, you will. Shoot, I actually at thrift stores and stuff, if you just search through their book, you find like actual Masonic books that I guess someone in their family just passes away and they're like, I don't need this, let me donate it.
Yeah.
But that stuff's not supposed to be in the public. So if you can
Oh,
get your
no.
hands on some of that, it's interesting to look to.
I've seen
yeah,
a book or two that I should not be reading.
I
I try not to talk about it too much because I don't want to get killed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the fine line that we have: what to post, what not to post.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't done Hillary Clinton because I'm like, I enjoy breathing.
Yeah,
I like
everyone who
my
talks
life.
about her is
I'm super
somehow just not
happy.
alive anymore. Yeah.
I do not want to die tomorrow. So like, I'm not suicidal. I'm not trying to cover Hillary Clinton yet.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. But I believe in the idea that if I do happen to release something and end up dying, so there's probably truth behind it. So I'm
Right,
cool with
yeah.
it.
I like anytime I like post something on social media or on YouTube and they're like, ooh, I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm on the right track. Got it.
Yes. Why is there so many comments on this and people are hating on me? Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Let's get into the MKUltra topic since
Ooh,
we
this is
started
fun.
diving into all of that. Alrighty, so MKUltra used electroshock ECT, and it is used in many hospitals, now on mostly women. We need this exposed. This is free information, and if you or someone you know is dealing with mental issues, it is also posting to current ECT patients, those considering ECT, family members of ECT patients, and ancillary mental health staff. Please speak out about what you learn. See also YouTube podcasts under the face of malpractice that addresses ECT and benzos. If you need help to find an attorney for medical malpractice around your ECT damages and live in the US, Canada, you may DM me for possible assistance. Sounds like a commercial for
It does
medication.
sound like
Yeah. As you have had ECT or are considering it, below is some information to help you navigate this issue, should they suggest this. If you have already had ECT, it will alert you to what was missing in your consent process. There are videos 5 and 6 on my page about ECT, and the other videos are about a psychiatric medical malpractice lawsuit I settled. ECT is not just for depression any longer. I am a retired level 1 ER nurse that has great concerns about the acquired TBI results and that ECT is misrepresented. After ECT patients experience temporary euphoria, memory loss for problems that led to admission, and failure to recognize the severity of incurred damages called anosognosia. This is not a mental health improvement. These are known as anticipated outcomes of an acquired TBI from an electrical mechanism of trauma. I researched a variety of lawsuits around this practice for 2 years and found representation for a national ECT device suit in 2017. I was not a plaintiff. I signed the court documents to certify that class action. Attorneys now on my website noted below. Attorneys now own my website noted below. One of the experts in this suit on behalf of ECT patients was Dr. Bennett Amalu. He was the expert around the head injuries and CTE findings in the NFL players. Many medical malpractice attorneys also have my research and find cause to pursue around consent and medical battery. If you have had ECT as a minor, this is difficult to read. If you have had ECT as a minor, there are no legal time constraints to sue. Patients are not told that an acquired TBI is occurring with every ECT procedure based on mechanism of low voltage electrical trauma. Patients are also not warned of the potential risk for CTE, ALS, structural brain changes, cardiac issues, etc. Consent mentions none of this. Consent at present makes the procedure seem almost innocuous. Every bodily system is impacted given this electrical trauma. This form of trauma evolves over time and damages. Electrical trauma actually causes PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Keeps a constant patient pool for ECT given this. There's also an increased risk for suicide after ECT, given their brain injuries and lack of help in addressing them. Many brain rehabilitation centers are tied to facilities that use ECT, so therein lies the issue to get appropriate needed referrals. Better to protect a physician over a patient, it seems. Providers, neurologists, and primary care need to address these brain injuries versus writing them off as psychiatric issues when patients present for help. There is also no FDA testing behind this or the devices used. When testing can be achieved, damages are found. Some have damages tied to ECT and medical records. These patients need to be seen and treated as trauma patients. See the site ectjustice.com. Physicians have forgotten their duty around do no harm as it relates to this practice. Sharing information on social media helps to shine a bright light on this issue for those considering this. Very important to post about this on all platforms to affect needed change. Psychiatry is certainly not going to address this. We need conversations in mental health professional groups. All right, let's see. To address this harm taking place under the guise of help, are you willing to no longer collude through science and complicity so that you can advocate for vulnerable patients? You would want to know the truth about a procedure that impacts the rest of your life. It takes courage to make a stand, to advocate, and no longer drink the Kool-Aid. Wow.
So from the message, I'm having a hard time understanding how MKUltra and ECT kind of is she suggesting that they're using ECT in hospitals as like MKUltra?
You know, I wish I could tell you. All I got was the message. I have no context for it. But from what I'm understanding is that it seems like she's kind of referring to it as the concept of MKUltra, and that the intelligence agencies were using MKUltra and LSD and all the psychopsilocybins and stuff for mind control techniques, right? Or at least the attempt at it. So now you have this electroconvulsive therapy that is also trying to do the same thing. They're no longer using the LSD and stuff because that was obviously exposed. But
they're still using it.
Well, yeah, allegedly they're not, according to their declassified documents. But now we do have the concept of electroconvulsive therapy that she explained, which is odd.
I've never heard of ECT, so I just like searched it really quick while you were reading that because I wanted more context. So it says that it's a medical treatment that involves brief electrical pulses to the brain to induce seizures, but it also can be used to treat severe medical conditions such as like major depression, bipolar disorder, and catatonia. So I see both sides. The thing that I got probably the most out of her message was that the medical industry does a really terrible job at explaining the actual side effects to whatever procedure, which is kind of what she's saying, right? Like these people aren't told that they're going to get TBIs from this medical procedure, which happens all the time. So when I was pregnant with my second son, he was breached. So they were like, we're going to have to do this procedure basically where we turn the baby. And I was like, okay, how harmful is it? She's like, oh, not a problem, but we will do it, like you'll get an epidural and you'll be in the room next to the operating table. That way, if we need to go into a C-section, we will. And I was like, I'm going to go home and do a little bit more research. So I did, and I was like, oh, you guys did not explain. You made this seem like it was a harmless situation that like you're just going to flip the baby and call it a day. This does not seem harmless, and I'm not doing that.
As they always do.
Right. But I think that that's probably like the biggest issue. I mean, our medical industry in itself is just completely screwed. But like they're not telling us all the things. They're making it seem like everything's a lot safer than it actually is, which is what I gathered from her message.
So I'm actually pretty familiar with the concept of ECT. They use it in the military. They use it in law enforcement for, just like you said, the treatment of clinical depression, PTSD, and stuff like that. Supposedly, according to the studies, well, the medical report studies, that is, it actually helps to combat these issues. So it's interesting. I myself have not done it, but a lot of the people who have say that it has worked. And what's kind of scary to me is that you have back in the 50s and 60s when MKUltra was a thing, they were using electroshock for all this stuff, and it did cause severe issues. Now, electroconvulsive therapy is different. It's you familiar with the concept of a TENS unit?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like you hook up the little pads and it gives
And
shocks to your muscles.
Yep.
Slight shocks, right? And you can turn it up based on the settings.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
kind
you
of
can,
like the
see
same
your
thing.
muscles twitching. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the same thing. It just sends small frequencies to your brain. And obviously, depending on the severity of your issue, it can be turned up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think about this. And I also, it seems like she's alluding to the concept of mind control, but I don't know if I quite get with that.
I don't know if I go that far. Well, okay. We have to think like back to MKUltra. So MKUltra, they're using LSD to allegedly control people's minds, right? Like if we're gonna not believe the theory and we're gonna believe what they're saying that it's not happening anymore, whatever. They were using LSD to try to control people. Well, now you're seeing all this, and it LSD to an extent, but mostly like mushrooms. They're using these other psychotropic drugs to combat PTSD and to combat like depression and anxiety and all these issues. So it makes me wonder, like, what did they learn during MKUltra that they're like, you know what we should do? We should use mushrooms to cure, or 5-MeO DMT to cure
Yeah.
PTSD. Like
You have Joe Rogan who talks about this a lot
and
with
Sean Ryan, yeah,
microdosing and all this other stuff,
Yep.
and how it's been very effective. So I'm kind of wondering if society as a whole kind of took this out of context, and rather than the idea of literally being able to control someone's mind, it's being able to change their mind so they're no longer battling these symptoms.
but it makes you wonder. I mean, I've heard some of the stories of the guys that go to like Mexico. You have to go out of the country to do it, and they go to Mexico typically, and they do these like sessions, these retreats where they're doing a lot of psychotropic drugs in like a short amount
With
of time.
ayahuasca.
Yeah, ayahuasca,
Yeah.
DMT, all these different things, and they're being monitored by doctors. They're doing it in a safe environment, but like they're doing some crazy things. And the way that they say that their brain opens up, like I could see somebody being incredibly susceptible during that time, because like these guys are they're getting healed, right? They're like finding themselves in this psychedelic trip that they are on. But if you're on the psychedelic trip in the wrong environment and somebody's like, you need to go kill the prime minister or whoever, right? Like kind of just like Zoolander, which sounds silly, but
No,
was
that's
it-
real.
Was it Zoolander? Yeah.
It's the time that you're in.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a great concept. I never even thought of that perspective on it. But it makes me think. I actually have a episode coming out on Western medicine, so pharmaceuticals and the issues, kind of like we talked about, how they say a lot of medications do something, but on a baseline, they're just treating the symptoms. They're not actually giving you any information on how to combat the actual issue itself. So it's the same concept with all of this, and the electroconvulsive therapy and all of the psychedelics, because at a base level, it's treating the symptom, but it's not actually treating the issue. But then it also exposes you to the vulnerability, like you stated. So,
But if they treat the symptom, then they can keep you on drugs for the rest of your life, because you're going to have all these other symptoms based on the symptoms that you had initially, and blah 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 blah. Now you're on 8 different medications just to combat the symptoms of the first medication for something that could have easily been fixed with diet and exercise. Typically, I'm not saying everything can be fixed like that, but you know.
Yeah. No, for the most part, it can. And you have a lot of medications that lead to, like you said, these other issues. And it's crazy, and it's super expensive. In other countries, we have a lot of these antibiotics and stuff that can be purchased over the counter.
Yeah.
There's no insurance. There's no crazy upcharges or any of this crap that we have here in America. And also with the concept of like cholesterol, over the years, the baseline cholesterol level has been decreased.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And then they're like, your cholesterol's high. Well, did you know that you actually need cholesterol to make vitamin D, which is the only vitamin that your body can make? Blah, 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 blah. We can go down this whole rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, you guys are keeping us sick. Like,
absolutely.
Just let us be healthy people. Like, come on.
Yeah. Shoot, you have the two concepts of control. And with those concepts, you have influence and fear. And the only way to maintain control is to influence and fear people and keep people in this constant state of fear. And if we're healthy, we're not going to be in a constant state of fear.
No, because there's nothing wrong with us. If our brain's actually working, then we can see through their lies. That's the problem. That's why they want to keep us dull. Maybe that's why they're using ECT so much.
It could be. It
I'm trying to
absolutely
shine this
could
back
be.
into the ECT thing because I didn't follow the whole spiel as well as I feel like I could have. But
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I
at the
think
end of
that
the day,
conversation kind of worked out.
yeah,
It gave some perspective to it, and yeah, no, this has been fun so far. Um, Gosh, I had a point I was going to mention, but it doesn't matter. We'll hop into the next topic. So the Russian sleep experiment. We have our AI assistant Aura that's going to give us a little introduction on this.
The Russian sleep experiment is a viral horror story often mistaken for a real declassified experiment. According to the tale, Soviet researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 political prisoners awake for 15 days using an experimental gas stimulant. At first, the subjects appeared normal, talkative and alert. But as days passed, they became paranoid, delusional, and violently insane. By the experiment's end, the subjects had mutilated themselves, begged to stay awake, and displayed superhuman strength and psychotic endurance. When the gas was finally shut off, they reportedly screamed, "We are the evil that lives within you." While entirely fictional, originating from a creepypasta, internet horror short story, around 2010, it draws on Cold War fears of unethical human experimentation, reminiscent of real projects like MKUltra and Unit 731. The story endures because it blurs the line between plausible science and nightmare folklore, making it one of the most famous modern horror myths online.
I don't agree with Aura's concept on that at all. If the whole idea of the Russian sleep experiment is a myth, that's fine. But during the um, during the Holocaust, we had the Nazis who were doing this shit. The German
Yeah.
scientists were literally employed by the American CIA to conduct these kind of experiments.
And then where did the Nazi scientists go after World War II? To Russia and to the US.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that they didn't go to Russia and then continue their experiments over there? I don't believe that this is fake. And I know that all over the internet, everywhere you look, they're like, oh, it's just made up. It's just a made up story. I don't think it's made up. I think that they want you to think it's made up because I think that it got around, like it blew up so much. They're like, oh, it was just fake. Sorry. Oops.
And you even have movies like Captain America.
Yeah.
And that is the exact same concept as this, is it makes someone superhuman via these studies.
But then don't they die at the end? Like, isn't that like they shut off the gas and then like they finally fell asleep and they died?
So eventually, from my understanding, that is what happens. But during these experiments and all the testing, they essentially mastered it. And they were actually testing it on troops in order to make them like superhuman in combat and have all these different abilities. And the concept of Captain America being fictional, I mean, it's really not.
No, they've tried so many times to make like a super soldier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you even have
like goal
in our modern military here in the U.S. All the freaking vaccines and shit that they give people, and you don't have a choice to take them. You're required to take them. You're just a slave to the U.S. at that point.
I remember in boot camp, I walked down and they like you walk and you stop on this square and then you get a shot in this arm and a shot in this arm. And then you walk and you stop at this square and you get a shot in this arm and a shot in this arm. And then you walk and then you lean over the table so I can give you your peanut butter shot in your butt. And you're like, how many shots did I just get? And what did I even consent to? What did you just vaccinate me with?
None of it.
I have no idea. Like what you put in my body. So yeah, I don't know. I think that the Russian sleep experiment was real. I think that they learned something. When did they decide that 8 hours of sleep is what we needed? Like, this is where I need to do a little bit more research. At what point were they like, you need to get 8 hours of sleep every single night for your brain to function more? Is it because that they kept people up for 15 days, 30 days, 60 days, just to see what would happen if they kept them up for that long?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, it's interesting you bring up the topic of sleep. Gosh, I gotta find this guy's podcast. What's his name? He's a Stanford scientist.
Okay.
God, do you happen to know his name?
I think I know who you're talking about.
He has a huge podcast. He's a
Is it the Huberman Lab?
Yeah, Huberman Labs. Yes, he talks a lot about sleep.
Yeah.
And essentially, his conclusion is he's come to realize that every body is different. And some people can function on less sleep, and more sleep is actually detrimental to them. Whereas the baseline recommendation is 8 hours. So I don't necessarily know if, because of these studies, I mean, obviously, studies do help come to conclusions, right? Um, so that could be
But also, they
how
don't know a whole
we
lot
came to
about
it.
sleep. Like, they don't know a whole lot about sleep and a whole lot about dreams, and they don't know a whole lot about what our body, like, they're studying it, obviously, but they don't know a whole lot about what our body is doing while we're sleeping. Like, there's a lot of mystery around sleep
Oh, there is. There
and
is.
dreams.
And dreams.
Yeah, I got a lot of
Good
questions
old,
about some dreams.
yeah, good old DMT.
No, I'd do it once, probably.
Oh, I would absolutely do it. I'm in a career field where I can't do anything at the moment, but I'm not going to talk about that on the podcast. But yeah, we to this show.
Yeah, I'm in a career field where I can do whatever I want.
You can enjoy it. I gotta wait
Uh.
till I retire for that. But
Oh
shoot,
yeah. Well,
let
I'll
me
be here
see.
doing conspiracy theories. Not
I love
I
it.
try not to do it when I'm like incapacitated. If I'm drinking a little bit, I'm like, I can't do conspiracies. I'm done.
I love doing my research and even starting to record with just a nice small glass of whiskey or a glass of wine.
I can
Just
if I drink
keeps me
one,
focused.
I'm okay. If I drink two, I'm done. I start going
Yeah.
off the deep end about crazy things. I'm like, you guys should not even listen to what I'm saying right now. Like,
You know what? That would be interesting, doing like an intoxicated
Like
podcast
like drunk
and just see the
conspiracies.
kind of crap that you talk about. Yeah, that might be interesting. We
Let's
should
set
actually
that up.
hop on with
The Daily Conspiracy
Podcast.
Yeah, I'll set it up. We'll go live on YouTube. This is gonna be really
Yes.
fun.
Yes, that would be really fun.
We
Oh,
have to do it at
gosh.
2:00 our time though, or 2:00 my time, because they're in the UK. So it's
Hey,
like
that's
late night
fine.
for them. So that's the
I
time that we
actually
always
work
record.
graveyard, so
Oh,
I'm
so you
cool
get
with
it.
day drinking.
I have to tell my husband, you got to take care of the kids tonight because I'm gonna be drunk by 5 p.m. I'm out.
That's too funny. So this next topic actually comes from a shared listener of ours, Gina. She's a very thorough listener. She listens to all of our stuff and gives me feedback all the time. I'm sure she does the
Perfect.
same thing for you. So she wanted some recent updates on the JFK assassination. So once again, we have my assistant, Aura, who's going to give us a briefing on this.
January 23rd, 2025, the White House issued Executive Order 14,176, directing full declassification of records relating to the JFK assassination, as well as those of Robert F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. On March 18, 2025, the National Archives and Records Administration, NARA, released new batches of previously withheld or redacted documents from the President John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992. The newly released documents offer enhanced clarity on the surveillance, intelligence community behavior, and foreign operations context surrounding the assassination era. In particular, historians note fresh insight into how the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, monitored or interacted with the assassin Lee Harvey Oswald in Mexico City and elsewhere. However, no bombshell revelations have yet emerged that definitively overturn the long-standing conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, as initially found by the Warren Commission and upheld by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Many researchers emphasize that while transparency is increasing, the core narrative remains intact for now. Congressional oversight is active. For example, a hearing in early 2025 convened by Oliver Stone, via public testimony, called for fresh investigation and pointed out remaining gaps in the documentation.
I think I'm going to have to fire Aura. So it's interesting because obviously AI, all it does is search what the internet has access to, right?
Yeah.
Based on whatever you prompt it. But it's sticking with the narrative that the public knows and the public believes.
Yep.
So it's nice to have a baseline understanding of what the narrative is, right? But we know that isn't true.
No,
We know there's
AI
more to
always
it.
does this. I think, and I try to use AI for some of my research, and I'm like, it's just not okay. You can give me the actual story because I always start each of my episodes with like the real story, like the story they want us to believe, right? Like Lee Harvey Oswald, he did it by himself, blah 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 blah, lone shooter, stupid. And we're like, oh okay, AI will give that to me. But then when I'm like, okay, what about this conspiracy about it? It's like, oh, that was proved false. And you're like, okay, no, but tell me what the conspiracy is. Well, it was proved false. I'm like, okay, you're useless.
Yeah. You can actually develop quite a few. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But I'll share some ideas with you on how to improve that because there are ways around it. It just obviously
I just do my own research.
yeah, the public doesn't want you to know that, so it's going to push the agenda it wants you to know. But
Of
there are
course.
ways to go around it. But yeah, shoot, those documents that it was referring to, I'll add those in the link to the show notes. All the PDFs and stuff. It's some interesting stuff. I'm sure you have a episode on the JFK assassination. I just have one that
3
came
of
out last
them.
week as well.
Yeah. I think everybody has one. Yeah.
Yeah. Major topic. We'll link to both of those episodes so you can view our insight on the JFK assassination. But yeah, there are some recent declassified documents that Aura has found for us. But it's just the narrative. It's pushing the
Yeah.
same narrative.
But
I
they're
don't know
always
if
gonna
we'll
push
ever
it.
know. I
They're
don't know if
never
we'll
going
ever
to tell
know.
us the truth. No, because the minute that they tell us the truth, then we don't believe the government about anything ever. They can't risk that.
Yeah.
Like the fact that like anybody, I mean, I do understand why people thought that they might tell us the truth. They're never going to tell us the truth. So we just have to make the best educated guess with the information that we have.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think
Actually,
there's at least 2 shooters.
absolutely. At least.
At least
And
2.
based on the 3 major theories, at least, I believe they could all be possible occurring at the same time.
100%. Well, and why not, right? Like why can't you have all these different people doing all different things? You have different organizations working together, which happens.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
and that leads into the whole theory on the Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. I mean, it's a typical like operation. You're going to have so many contingencies because if this thing happens and it doesn't go like this, then we need a backup plan for that. And if that backup plan doesn't work, we still have to kill this guy.
Absolutely. There needs to be a solution to the problem.
So the driver could have shot him, but also I think there were other people that were supposed to shoot him, and the driver was a backup. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? I don't know if we'll ever know, but it's nice to discuss the theories, that's for sure. I was actually talking with Ollie from Daily Conspiracy Podcast, and the concept that you brought up, let's backtrack a little bit. You mentioned something along the line of if they do release the actual information, then no one's going to believe anything. Right. So as a society, I think we're all kind of waking up to the idea that you can't believe really anything, especially mass media, because they have the concept of the Project Mockingbird that was declassified, that the CIA did infiltrate the media. And to this day, Tucker Carlson even talks about it. He's former Fox News, got fired. Now he reveals everything, right? Ollie had an interesting theory that with the concept of Three-Eye Atlas being such a huge topic at the moment that media really has not covered all that much. When they do start covering it, and if they make it a big deal, that may bring people's attention back to the media to start believing in them again, because it creates this massive fear alternative, right?
Right.
Something bad's going to happen. Here's what we need to do. You guys got to stay tuned in this to protect yourselves, protect the world, protect everyone, right?
Yeah.
And I added to his theory on that because I firmly believe in the concept of the New World Order. And if the media does grab that hold, right, that could be the final straw to then
Operation
start. Exactly.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to take the words out of your mouth.
No. That was exactly it. Yeah. Lead to Project Bluebeam and then actually roll out the concept of the New World Order happening.
Yep.
Crazy.
Absolutely. I think that I don't know. I'm like waiting on this one. I haven't covered through Atlas because like I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm just gonna wait and see on this one. Well,
I do believe in the concept of extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, I think it's been proven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a shadow of a doubt. So
we have. I actually talked about this on the Daily Conspiracy podcast. But there's a book that Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper.
Yes.
And huge conspiracy doctrine, right?
Yep.
He exposes everything according to his theories on it, right? But he talks a lot about extraterrestrial life and the concept of the New World Order rolling out. And that once the government declares a mass emergency, you got to go to the post office and you got to register for the census. And then they're going to send you to wherever you're going. And it gives vibes of the Holocaust.
Oh,
right?
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
No,
it gives
I
vibes
will
of the
not be doing
Holocaust.
any of that.
It really does.
Yeah.
But then you have all these massive federal penitentiaries that are closest to major railway systems and highways.
Yep.
So what the hell?
And you know what they did to Cooper? They killed him.
They did. They did.
So...
And he actually predicted they were going to kill him.
Yep. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
that guy's
interesting
dead, though,
stuff.
Because he knew too much, and he was revealing too much, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't be talking like that anymore. You gotta go."
I always refer to his book because he's one of the best icons, honestly, in my opinion, for conspiracies. Yeah. And there's the other concept of the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, and that they have like this railway underground system.
Oh, they 100% do. There's so many tunnels throughout the entire country, throughout the entire world, have been proven time and time again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. It's true. And you see a lot of sightings of UFOs within wherever the stations are and the entrances to these mountain bases that lead to the underground areas. And then William Cooper also refers to the concept that the Americans and the Russians had a treaty with extraterrestrial life, and that they essentially said, hey, look, don't mess with what we're doing. We won't mess with what you're doing. The aliens, I guess they were doing experiments, or allegedly doing experiments on people, because they had like some sort of genetic mutation reproduce for their
right.
Their
That's
species.
What I heard too, is that they're actually impregnating women, and then after the women give birth, they basically wipe their memory and take the babies. Because that's the only way they can have babies.
Interesting. That, oh my gosh, this random topic popped in my head. But this almost ties it into the concept of religion for me, because if you don't necessarily, or put your belief of a higher power aside, if the higher power is the extraterrestrial life, and they're the ones that created us in this concept of what you could refer to as like a virtual reality, right? We're living in a version of their virtual reality. Then this could totally be a thing.
Well, and then that brings you to like the Anunnaki. Did they create us?
Yes.
Like, I mean, there's so many, and I think that's where it's really hard to like stop asking questions, because like there's so many options, there's so many versions of like I believe in this version, but I'm gonna ask so many questions because of all these other things that I'm learning. And how do they all fit together? Because like, I'm not trying to like bash on Christianity in any way, shape, or form, but they're teaching this one thing: God created everything, blah blah blah, all this stuff, right? Everyone kind of understands the gist. Well, what about aliens? Like, God created the universe, right? So then, okay, fine, we can check that off the list. But did he also create them in his likeness, the way he created us in his likeness, or do they have a different Bible? Does he also does he have different worlds that he's all controlling in different ways? Like, I have a lot of questions about like, how does it work?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because like, there's other things that were like spirits and demons. There's been so many sightings and so much proof of the spiritual world. Is that the devil at work? Is that God? Are these actual human spirits that didn't leave and go to heaven or go to hell? Like, I don't know. I got a lot of questions.
There's always a lot of questions, and honestly, we should never stop asking them, regardless of what we come up with.
Just keep asking questions until we die.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone should. It sucks that I mean, I hate to use this concept because it's so overly used and has such bad connotation, but sheep society.
Yeah. But I think it's easy. Well, it's happier. It's happy to believe that the government is batting 100. They're just, or 1,000, whatever the term is. I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah.
baseball fan.
Yeah, me neither.
Obviously. But like they're just like killing it, that everything they're teaching us is true, or everything they're saying is true, everything they're teaching us is true, or the medical industry is true. It's easier to believe in all of that than to be like, wait a second, did they say that because they have an ulterior motive? Or like why would they say something like that? Like if you start questioning things and you question one thing and then it snowballs really quickly into everything, and then you don't trust the government anymore. So it is easier to be like, I don't know, ignorant.
I agree. It is the easier way to go. I lean pretty heavily toward like libertarian beliefs. I don't think we should trust any government or any
Ever.
person that's trying to push an agenda on you because they have their own agenda, right? And yeah, no, that's a good point.
I don't know. I try not to blame people that are like, I don't believe in conspiracies. I'm like, I get it. I wish I didn't believe in conspiracies, but I know too much. That's not true. I'm glad I believe in conspiracies because
No, absolutely. Yeah.
it's
I love
fun.
going down all the holes and seeing what all the theories are. And yeah, it's just unfortunate in my opinion that you have all these people that do follow the sheep society, right? And they may or may not be exposed to what all the theories and stories are, but they're just like, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
duh.
they don't care. Eh.
They don't.
You're like, come on, like you're not even anything. I actually a year and a half ago, I did a like a conspiracy game show on my show because I was trying to bring awareness to like military mental health podcasts that were out there that didn't really have a lot of viewership yet. And I was like, here guys, like I have an audience, let me lend my audience to you guys so maybe we can expand the awareness of the military, like the mental health issues. And so we did this game show and I would ask them some questions, and one of the guys on there, he didn't believe any conspiracies. And I'm like, you don't believe any of them? Not one.
Huh.
You don't believe one conspiracy. Like, and I asked him a couple. He's like, no, 9/11. Like, it was the plane. And I was like, okay. I was like, what about JFK? No, JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald. I was like, you believe that? He's like, yeah. So then I decided I would go on his podcast one of these times, and I'm going to ask him if he believes about Epstein. Because, like, you think Epstein just killed himself? You think, like, I got some more questions about, like, there's
And
gotta
if
be
he
a
did just kill
conspiracy.
himself, what's the reason to kill himself?
Why? Yeah.
Right? No one just
Because
kills
he's
himself to kill himself.
not done anything so far.
Yeah.
Allegedly, there's
and
no
even
list.
with 9/11, right? We have the proof that the planes actually hit the towers. Like the story happened, but it's why the story happened.
No, like he just believes that like they were hijacked, like the planes were hijacked by a couple guys with some box cutters, and they flew them into the, like that's it. He believes the actual narrative. They flew them into the towers, and like that building 7 just collapsed because it was on fire all day.
That's crazy.
Like
That's crazy.
he just believes, and I again, I'm not here to judge anybody. I think people believe what they want to believe, but like,
no, for sure, for sure.
You don't believe one? Not even one thing. This guy,
whoever you did that with, I hope he's listening to the podcast because I actually have an episode coming out on 9/11 with all of the documentation in the show notes, and then also on my Discord. My concept, or what I believe personally on 9/11 is that yes, the planes were hijacked. Yes, they did crash into the towers. Yes, all 3 towers came down, but it's the narrative as to why it happened.
Yeah.
All of these people, the terrorists, were informants or directly working with the intelligence agencies.
Oh, 100%.
They had like 20 different opportunities to kill Osama bin Laden prior to 2001. And every time the mission was put on, it was called off right when they had the opportunity to do it. Why?
I have so many theories and thoughts. And I did 3 parts on 9/11. I think I did a really bad job. It was back when I was new, and so I think I could do a lot better now. I haven't taken on a task yet, but
yeah, shoot, just release an updated version on it. Everyone wants to know.
It's gonna be probably a couple episodes. I think I've been thinking about, like, because I did 7 parts on Epstein, and by the end, people were kind of like, I'm so sick of Epstein. But there's so much information that you can't pack it all into one episode. And even when I was like, okay, we're going to connect some dots, we're going to connect some people, like they're not going to give us the Epstein list. Like I'll give you the Epstein list that I can find. I didn't even cover like an eighth of the people on the list.
Yeah, that's the same problem I have when I'm creating content. And that's kind of why I decided to stick with the format of short, compact information for the public. And then if you're truly a conspiracy theorist and you want to do the deeper dive, then my Patreon has that.
Yeah.
And that way I'm not uploading a bunch of content. But that's just kind of how I decided to do it.
Yeah. There's so much information.
Oh, there is. It's nonstop. Shoot. Well, that leads us into our next topic of artificial telepathic communication. Perfect concept for my assistant, Aura, to give us a briefing on.
Artificial telepathy refers to the concept of transmitting thoughts, emotions, or intentions directly from one brain to another, or between a brain and a machine, without spoken or written language. In essence, it's the pursuit of mind-to-mind or mind-to-computer communication through technology. The foundation lies in brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, which record brain signals, like electrical activity from neurons, using EEG caps, implanted electrodes, or magnetic sensors. These signals are then decoded by AI algorithms to interpret thoughts, intentions, or even imagined speech, and can be transmitted to another system that re-encodes them as neural stimulation in a second brain. In 2014, researchers at the University of Washington successfully transmitted simple words, hola, ciao, from one brain to another, using EEG and magnetic stimulation. By the late 2000s, DARPA and private neurotech firms like Neuralink and Kernel began exploring high-bandwidth neural implants that could, theoretically, scale this to complex data, like entire sentences or emotions. These advances merge neuroscience with AI, forming the basis for what many call synthetic telepathy, artificial systems that mimic or enhance natural mental communication. Programs within the US Department of Defense and DARPA have explored silent communication for soldiers, where commands or alerts could be sent brain to brain without radios or speech. Similar research has been documented in declassified files under neural interfacing and cognitive enhancement initiatives, blurring the line between neuroscience and psychological operations. The idea of artificial telepathy raises profound questions about privacy, free will, and cognitive autonomy. If thoughts can be decoded, can they also be influenced? Could future networks connect minds the same way the internet connects devices? Some futurists envision a global brain, a shared consciousness network where ideas move instantly between humans and AI. Artificial telepathic communication isn't science fiction anymore. It's an emerging frontier where neuroscience, AI, and ethics collide. While current systems are limited to simple signals, the long-term vision suggests a world where thoughts could become the next language, and the barrier between mind and machine begins to dissolve.
Interesting. So it talks about some stuff that gives me thoughts on like the concept of Neuralink.
Yeah, I was
or
thinking that too.
Stephen Hawking or the meta glasses, and how kind of everyone in society is using AI now as their global brain.
Yeah,
So
but like, so everything's hackable. So then exactly what she was saying, like how long until they hack our brains and they tell us what they want us to know? How long until they take us over and we become zombies? If we
and
all
I think that's the unfortunate part. Like
right.
you
It takes
with
away the
every
human entity.
idea, yeah, no, there's good and bad with every concept, right? So I think for a lot of things, the artificial intelligence and the Neuralink and everything it has good to it. But then with that good, there's the opposite bad that
Right.
can be done with it. But that goes with everything. Like, are we opposed to advancements in engineering and technology just because someone can do bad things with it? Like, I open my computer, my phone every day, but just because someone can watch me through my video camera or freaking hack my computer, like, is that going to stop me from using it?
Yeah, but I feel like this goes down like a really deep rabbit hole. Like in Wally, you have all these guys that are like floating around in their chairs, just kind of like doing nothing. But if they, and I don't remember Wally that well, so maybe this is what they're doing already. But if you're connected to something in your brain, you can have a robot go out to the grocery store and buy your groceries because it already knows what you need. You know, and then you have a different robot, maybe depending, go and change the tires on your car at the same time. So you don't actually ever have to leave your house. You got one robot doing your work for you, so you make money. Like, you're never leaving. You can just sit on your chair and watch TV and get fat.
And what's crazy is that America is the perfect portrayal of this, and it has been
Yeah.
for like decades at this point. We
Yep.
are the most out of shape, inactive society there is, and we have damn near everyone do our work for us,
And we're
unlike other
quick.
countries and societies.
We're quick to jump on things like this because we want like
Yeah.
the newest, hottest toy. Like we want like the most advanced tech. And like, I think it's a great idea for soldiers that like you don't want to talk because you're in kind of a sketchy environment. You don't know what's happening. So yeah, of course you should, or like police officers or whatever. I think there's plenty of like use. When I was working for a marching band, this is going to sound so silly. When I was working for a marching band, the band director kept saying, I have this vision and you guys just aren't seeing it. If I could just like have his vision in my brain, I could make that come to life. But I couldn't. So I just did like my best with what I was doing. But I don't like at the end of the day, it's going to be used more for bad than for good, I think.
I can see that. I could absolutely see that.
So I'm against it. I'm saying no.
And that kind of leads me to the idea of super intelligence, which is the next step of AI. At least that's what a lot of people refer to. I listened to a podcast from Diary of a CEO, and he had a guy on there who used to be in the AI field, and he did a huge wake-up call explanation on why we need to stop. And as a society, we need to believe that super AI can be no longer. It's fine to use the base level of it because it's just using sources, right?
Absolutely.
But we're in this kind of Cold War era now, this race to develop the super AI, because whoever does first is going to be the greater power. But once you create it, there's no stopping it, just like the iRobot movies and everything like that. So yeah, I think that's a good point. It's too scary and too much too much for us to handle as people.
Yeah, I think it's too much. I think that we still have to be self-sufficient to some extent. Like we cannot just rely on machinery for everything. And I think there's a time and a place for it, but to do everything for you is not the time or the place. Although my husband, he kind of keeps up with the AI stuff because he's like freaking out about AI, and he like alerts me to it, and I try not to worry about AI because I'm worrying about, you know, the rest of the world. So I'm like, you worry about that and I'll go worry about like every other conspiracy. But he was like, well, they're trying to develop this AI, this robot that will like basically be in your house. It'll live in your house and it'll do all your cooking and your cleaning. And I was like, I'm in. Deal. Sign me up. And he's like, no. He's like, you're missing the point. And I was like, no, I want that. I want the robot to cook and clean and do my laundry and do all those things and keep my house clean. That sounds fantastic. And he's like,
it's funny you mentioned that because
iRobot and they like take over everything.
And that's the bad to it, right? But Tesla has already integrated these bots, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're almost to the point where they're going to release them for human purchase rather than just their factories, and they'll be pre-programmed to do whatever task that you want them to do. And it's also funny you mentioned like, oh yeah, do my cooking and cleaning. I love technology and new innovation and everything, and I have one of the robot vacuums that mops and vacuums, and it uses AI to like see your like obstacle avoidance and stuff. That's the best thing since sliced bread for me because I don't have to use that time to do that. You know, I can do other things with my time.
It saves time. So then like, right, there's a time and a place. Cause like to me, my instinct, I was like, yes, if I don't have to do the laundry and I don't have to cook and I don't have to clean, imagine how much time that has now saved me. I can work on my podcast more, or I can spend more time with my kids, or we can go do something. We could just spend time as a family. Like there's a million things that we could do that's not cooking and cleaning and doing the laundry and all these things that we do spend a lot of time doing. And then as you get more kids,
I think that's
you get
the problem.
like,
oh yeah.
Just keep
I think that's the problem
multiplying.
with society is that like us as human beings are fairly self-destructive, and we don't necessarily have the self-control to once our time is more available to do these things with our time, like to keep ourselves busy. So like you and I, we have ideas of what can keep ourselves busy, but other people are just going to be unproductive, and that's when you get fat and lazy people.
Well, if I had a robot that made breakfast for us in the morning, my husband and I could actually work out for longer than if I had to go in, or actually he makes breakfast every morning. I do not. So, but if he didn't have to go in and make breakfast, and he makes breakfast while I make coffee. And if we didn't have to do those two tasks because our robot was doing it, we could actually work out longer and we could get a better workout and we could probably be in better shape. But instead, we're like, okay, we only have this much time because we woke up late or whatever. And we have to get breakfast made before the kids wake up because as soon as they wake up, they want to eat. And if I don't have coffee, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. And then we have to do the dishes after breakfast. And then we get to do it all again for lunch and then again for dinner, right? Everybody has these issues. But like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I could spend my time doing so many cool other things.
For me, it's like bless the hearts of the people who don't use a dishwasher.
Oh, yeah.
Because they make all their meals, they clean all their dishes, they're against the concept of any automation. It's like, bless your heart, you keep doing what you're doing
you
because
do
I'd
you.
rather be doing something else.
I love my dishwasher because it's time saving. Like it's the convenience of it, which again, I see the appeal of like the Neuralink. I don't have to actually call you and tell you because it'll just go to you. Like my brain will just or I'll be like, oh, I need to remember that in the future. And then it'll tell me in the future, whenever I wanted to remember, whatever I wanted to remember. So I see the appeal, but I can see how that goes downhill real quick, like in a scary, scary way.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that people don't
Absolutely.
look at that when they think about things like this. So.
Shoot. Well, I think that about does it for the 5 topics that I had that I thought were interesting. Did you have any other hot topics that anyone referred to you?
No, it's just the that I'm also the Swerve Podcast. I was like, interesting.
We'll let our viewers give their theory on that. Comment your thoughts below and share it with us. We'd love to hear your idea. We'll link to the Swerve Podcast in the description of this episode, so you can go listen to it yourself and kind of form your opinion on it. But that concludes our episode of Audience Confession Night. Dani, thank you so much for joining us for today's episodes. What platforms are you on, and what is the best place for our audience to find you?
So I am on social media. I'm on Instagram's probably the best place to find me at rabbit.holepodcast. The same thing over at TikTok. You can find me at rabbit.holepodcast. If you want to find my YouTube or my Rumble, you can search at rabbit.holepodcast, or you can just search the Rabbit Hole Conspiracy Theories. And then everywhere you get a podcast, I am there. So the Rabbit Hole Conspiracy Theories, wherever you want to listen.
Awesome. We'll link to all your stuff in the description.
In a world built on hidden histories and half-truths, we've only just begun to peel back the layers. Because what you've heard tonight was never meant to be known, but you were meant to find it. If you're ready to go deeper, leave us a review, comment your thoughts, share this episode, and step inside the archives. Join the inner circle, where the real evidence is kept. This is the broken truth, because the truth isn't whole, it's broken.